Hey there, folks. Buckle up for a wild ride about the time a nosy HOA queen bee tried to shut down my little farm and ended up eating her own words in the sweetest way possible. Picture this. Me, Jack Harper, a guy who traded city suits for muddy boots, caught in a showdown with a suburban tyrant named Linda Grayson. It's the kind of story that makes you laugh, cheer, and maybe question who the real bad guy is. Let's dive in. A few years back, I was done with the city grind, honking cars, endless emails, the whole soulless deal. I'd spent my 20s in the military, and by my mid-30s, I was craving something real. So, on a whim, I packed up and moved to a small plot of land I inherited from my great-uncle in Willow Creek, a sleepy corner of Virginia where suburbs and farmland collide. My place sits right on the line. On one side, you've got cookie-cutter houses under the iron grip of the Pine Grove HOA, and on the other, rolling fields of corn and hay. I'm squarely on the farm side, but my land shares a water hookup with the HOA's fancy sprinkler system, and oh boy, did that stir up trouble. I fell hard for micro-farming, to be exact, with rows of heirloom tomatoes, peppers, and a few chickens clucking around. It wasn't just work, it was peace, purpose, something I'd never found in a cubicle. But living so close to Pine Grove meant dealing with their rules-obsessed world, and that's where Linda came in. She wasn't the HOA president, but she acted like she owned the place. Linda was the kind of person who'd measure your grass with a ruler and send you a violation notice if it was half an inch too tall. I'd gotten a few of her letters before, stuff about my barn's paint color or my tractor being an eyesore. Each time, I'd politely write back, "Ma'am, I'm not in your HOA." And I thought that was that. Turns out, Linda didn't take kindly to being ignored. Things got heated one summer when Linda decided my farm was ruining the neighborhood's aesthetic and tanking property values. She'd stop by my fence, arms crossed, glaring at my vegetable beds like they'd personally offended her. "Jack," she'd say, her voice dripping with fake concern, "you're bringing down the whole community. You owe it to us to clean this up." I'd just smile, tip my hat, and say, "Linda, my land's tidy, and I'm not part of your club." But deep down, I was starting to feel the pressure. I loved this life too much to let her bully me out, but I had no idea why she was so fixated on me until it all blew up. One morning, I'm out checking my irrigation when two cop cars roll up, lights flashing. I'm thinking, what in the world? The officers step out, looking as confused as I feel, and say, "Sir, we got a call about illegal dumping in the creek." I show them around, point out my clean water lines, and they're like, "Yeah, nothing's wrong here. Sorry for the trouble." As they drive off, it hits Melinda. She'd called the cops, claiming I was pouring fertilizer into the shared water line. I was stunned. Either she was flat out lying, or she'd seen something and pinned it on me. I checked the creek myself, even paid for water tests, crystal clear, no trace of chemicals. So what was her deal? Over the next few weeks, the HOA, clearly under Linda's thumb, started sending me official-looking letters demanding I cease all farming operations. No explanation, just the same vague threat over and over. I was racking my brain, wondering if I'd missed some regulation, but my gut told me this was personal. Linda wasn't just enforcing rules, she was on a power trip, and I was her target. I wanted to march over to her McMansion and demand answers, but I held back. She'd already proven she'd play dirty, and I didn't want to give her ammo to spin me as the bad guy. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I heard Pine Grove was holding a community meeting, so I showed up, figuring I'd catch Linda afterward and get to the bottom of this. The meeting's winding down, folks are sipping coffee, and I spot her alone by the snack table. I walk over, keep my voice low, and say, "Linda, what's going on? Why are you coming after my farm?" Before I can finish, she cuts me off, loud enough for the whole room to hear. "Jack Harper, you're breaking federal water laws, and I've got the proof." She shoves a massive stack of papers into my hands, pages and pages of legal jargon, printed off some government website. I'm flipping through, heart pounding, trying to make sense of it, while she's practically shouting, "Everyone here knows you're polluting our water." A few HOA folks wander over, and Linda's like, "Right, guys? These laws are serious." They nod weakly, clearly intimidated, and I'm standing there, humiliated, wondering if I've missed something big. I mean, I'd checked the regulations, but what if she was right? I mumble something about looking into it and head home. That stack of papers burning a hole in my truck's passenger seat. I'm angry, yeah, but mostly scared I might lose the one thing that's given me purpose. Back home, I spread the papers across my kitchen table, expecting a legal nightmare. But as I read, I realize it's a mess: random environmental laws, zoning codes, even duplicate pages. It's like she Googled water violations and printed everything. I start laughing, because it's clear Linda has no clue what she's talking about. She's just trying to bury me in paperwork to scare me off. That's when I decide I'm done playing nice. I'm not letting her win, not like this. I call up an old buddy, Tom, a retired USDA inspector who knows farming regulations like the back of his hand. I ask him to swing by, but I don't tell him about Linda. I want his honest take. He walks the property, checks the water lines, and says, "Jack, you're golden. Everything's by the book." Then he grins and goes, "But I figured out your little test." I'm like, "What test?" He points upstream, where the creek runs past Pine Grove, and says, "Someone's siphoning water for a greenhouse, and it ain't you. Plus, their land is encroaching on the public easement." Guess whose house is right there? Linda's. And that greenhouse. Hers too. I'm floored. This woman's been breaking the very rules she's accusing me of violating, and she's got the nerve to call the cops on me? It's not just hypocrisy, it's audacity on a whole new level. Tom warns me to play this smart, says it's bigger than a shouting match. So I reach out to a neighbor, Sarah, a former land surveyor who's had her run-ins with Linda. Word spreads, and suddenly I've got a small army farmers who've been hassled by her, even a few Pine Grove residents tired of her reign of terror. One guy, Mike, hands me old HOA records showing Linda's been skimming funds for years, probably to build that greenhouse. We hatch a plan, a community farm day to show off my place, educate folks about farming, and by total coincidence highlight what bad practices look like. We invite everyone, HOA folks, local officials, even the press, with free burgers to seal the deal. I print pamphlets, short and sweet, with QR codes linking to my compliance docs and the real water laws. No paper avalanches like Linda's, just the truth, plain and simple. Meanwhile, Sarah and Mike file anonymous complaints about Linda's greenhouse with the HOA board, complete with photos and survey maps. Linda catches wind of Farm Day and tries to shut it down, sending me cease and desist letters that hold about as much weight as a paper towel. She even prints her flyers, warning about toxic runoff, without naming me, but everyone knows who she's targeting. The problem is, the water's fine, and people are starting to see through her. I hear from Mike that the HOA board's fed up, sick of her tantrums and demands for more letters. She's losing her grip, and she doesn't even know it. Farm Day arrives, and it's a hit. Families show up, kids pet the chickens, and a couple of environmental officials give my setup a thumbs up. I walk them to the water line, casually pointing out the clear pipes on my side and "Oh, look, that greenhouse upstream. Not my property," I say with a shrug. "You'd have to ask Pine Grove." The officials nod, jotting notes, and head straight to Linda's place. I don't stick around, but Mike fills me in later. It was chaos. The HOA board, already digging into Linda's shady finances, confronts her in front of everyone, announcing an emergency audit of her actions. Linda's screaming, "This is Jack's fault. He's framing me." But I'm over by the grill, flipping burgers, not saying a word. It's beautiful. Linda's stripped of all HOA power. Her greenhouse is slated for demolition after failing inspection, and the board issues a public apology, admitting she was dead wrong about me. They even drafted a new water-sharing agreement, crystal clear, so this nonsense never happens again. I feel like I've won the Super Bowl, but better, because I didn't just beat Linda. I did it clean, with truth and community on my side. Linda sticks around for a bit, but the fines pile up, and the neighbors shun her. Eventually, she sells her house, hires movers to pack her stuff, and skips town. I don't hate her, honestly. I pity her. She thought she could bully everyone forever, but you can't outrun the truth. My farm's thriving now, and I've got new friends in Pine Grove. We've even started a little co-op, selling veggies at the community center. It's not perfect, but it's home. So what do you think? Was Linda just a control freak, or was there something deeper driving her? Have you ever dealt with someone like her in your neighborhood? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your stories. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and share it with someone who needs a good laugh. Thanks for listening, folks. Catch you next time.